Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, how can I keep my foil cards from curling? Whether by a little or a lot, foil cards bend and curl. All of this can make foils into a nuisance more than a pleasure for many players and collectors. Even in competitive play, foils are problematic. Most pros are wary of using them because they can be disqualified for using marked cards if their foils have even the slightest curl. There are several preventative measures that can indeed be taken, but before we can talk about how you can keep your foils from curling, you have to understand why foils bend. Wizards of the Coast actually calls these premium cards, but everyone else in the entirety of the multiverse calls them foils. What factors result in the curling of foils? Humidity, combined with cardstock, combined with the foiling process itself. Unlike regular Magic cards, a foil Magic card is actually composed of two components, metal foil and a cardstock back. Humidity, or the water in the very air around us, will be absorbed by the cardboard, causing it to ever so slightly expand and contract in response to the moisture in the air. But the foil layer can't expand, so the card curls as the back gets bigger. As long as there is moisture in the air, foil cards will curl to some degree. The more humid it is, the more they will curl. Which brings us to you cannot completely prevent curling. So long as a foil has been exposed to air, there's the inevitability of some curling of the card, however slight. But this also brings forth the most obvious solution. To keep foils from curling, keep them from being exposed to the moisture in the air. Moisture, humidity, air itself, these are the enemy of foil collectors. And what's the best way to seal a card off from the air itself? That's right, card sleeves. This is yet another reason I applaud the Dragon Shield sleeve more than others. It has one of the tightest seals around. But even Dragon Shields are not airtight. Regardless of the sleeve you use, all it takes is for the opening to part just a little, and that dreaded air and moisture is entering. This is why I recommend that any serious foil collector use KMC Perfect Size. The perfect size is as close as you can get to an airtight seal. They tightly wrap around the card, and the only exposure is the tiniest sliver. And this is reason 612 that double sleeving is so great. A double-sleeved card is almost entirely cut off from exposure to air, although there's still going to have been that initial exposure, and whatever minute amount is trapped in the sleeve. I store valuable foils of mine in perfect size sleeves within my binder sheets, just to keep them as airtight as possible. There's another great tool besides perfect size sleeves, and that's a desiccant pack. You probably know of desiccant packs from inside anything from vitamins to any other product or produce that needs to keep moisture at an absolute minimum. These are perfect for our needs. Storing desiccant packs in your drawer or even your deck box is a great way to ensure moisture is a minimal issue. You can store desiccant packs in your deck box, which, especially if you're playing with an all-foil, pimped-out deck, can be handy. I like to keep my foils and other valuable cards inside a desk drawer, which I fill with some desiccant packs. Again, it is impossible to prevent curling entirely. So long as there's two different materials, there's warping, but these steps will greatly minimize its effects. What about foils that have already curled, or ones that have just started to? Can curling be undone? Not really. If you think back to why it is caused, the solid plastic foil being bent by the flexible cardboard, you'll realize that this is not something that can ever be corrected entirely. Yes, Flattening helps to some extent, but you are only bending back that which has already become irrevocably bent. You can bend back against it, but you can't get it back to its original flat state. What does help? Flattening on a very hard surface with a significant weight can have a minimal effect. Best results are with the foil face down, not up. Also, keeping all foils in a fairly tight deck box can also be beneficial, but again, this will have minimal effects. The best bet is to try and prevent the curling from occurring in the first place. I feel very strongly that Wizards of the Coast should be actively trying to produce foils that do not curl, and therefore have the same durability and endurability as their regular cards. But that's just my humble opinion. Either way, I hope this video has been of some help to you. Remember to keep your foils dry, preferably stored in tight sleeves such as KMC Perfect Size. Be sure to subscribe for future videos, suggestions for which are always welcome. And whether buying foils or other card accessories, try and spend that money at your local game store whenever possible. You're investing in your Magic community.